Now we will discuss the second part of learning factors, and we will see how age has been observed as a very important learning factor. Numerous researches have been conducted to trace the relation between age and second language, as age has been observed as a very important learning factor. Researchers like Ellis, Larson, Freeman, Mabry, and Locke believe that younger learners are more successful than the old ones. Some adolescents and adults who start the second language process would fail to achieve language fluency, while children who are exposed to second language at a very early stage are more successful and are more fluent. That is the assumption given by Cook. Kreshn et al. Believe that older is faster, but younger are the ones who are better at acquiring the skills. Older learners can do it, but usually they should try hard to become a native-like speaker. So, as comparison to the young ones or children, although older learners do acquire the proficiency, but it's very difficult for them to become native-like speakers. It is opposite in children's case, because they can achieve the native-like proficiency because they are exposed to the process at a very early stage. This takes us to the understanding of critical period hypothesis. Now, Lenberg in 1967 was one of the pioneers of researches in the field of second language acquisition, proposes the idea of critical period hypothesis. Now, that hypothesis suggests that there is a certain period during which language acquisition is easy and natural. And that is a process till the learner achieves puberty stage. It is before that which is considered a period where the acquisition takes place easily and naturally. It can be defined as the period during which a child can acquire language easily, rapidly, perfectly, and without instruction. So, when we are saying that it is without instructions, we are referring it to as a natural phenomena, and it is easy and quick. And perfectly, the perfection comes out of the natural process through which a child acquires second language. Learning language is an innate characteristic, and it is peculiar to all human beings, and it is regulated by biological factor. Those factors determine the certain period which lasts from 2 years to puberty. So the area or the time frame is from 2 years to puberty. Lenberg introduced the term lateralization in relation to critical period hypothesis, and it is a process when two sides of the brain develop special function. With the passage of time, right hemisphere loses its language function, and as soon as lateralization is finished by the age of puberty, language acquisition becomes difficult. So he supported the idea of critical period hypothesis through the process of lateralization, that how at a given or at a certain age, when the lateralization stops, the acquisition becomes difficult. According to Ellis, in brief, critical period hypothesis is the notion that language is best learned during the early years of childhood, and that after about the first dozen years of life, everyone faces certain constraints in the ability to pick up a new language. So we see that age is a very important factor that influences language learning, and there are certain period or there are certain years which can facilitate the acquisition process, and after which the process becomes difficult and according to some researchers impossible to develop a native-like proficiency. Now we will see some mixed opinion about the researchers with regard to the age factor. Kreshn investigated the matter and concluded that adults and older children come through stages of morphological and syntactic development quicker than children, because these are the higher stages of developing developing second language. So with regard to morphological and syntactic development, we see that older people are more quicker than children. But early start of second language learning usually guarantees higher general language proficiency with the passage of time or with the flow of time. So again, although having said that older people can acquire these stages more easily, the morphological and syntactic, but the assumption is that the early start of second language will provide a more sound ground for second language acquisition, and it develops with the passage of time. Singleton conducted research and claimed that Dutch learners who started learning English in the classroom after the age of 12, which is considered age of puberty, and the critical period hypothesis claims that after this the acquisition becomes difficult. But Singleton proved that Dutch, even after the age of 12, were able to gain native-like accent. Now we see that there are certain researches that have been done, and they propagated other point of view. They do identify successful second language learners who started SLA after puberty and have been able to achieve native-like proficiency according to these researchers. Hershensen's belief that older learners will make use of their first language learning strategies to learn the grammar and achieve good performance than young learners. The importance of memory in young learners and of analytic abilities in older learners has been observed as the differences. So we see that all these researchers claim that older learners have been successful in their ability of acquiring second language acquisition. Over here, younger people are quicker due to their memory span, and older people due to their analytic abilities. Another research which says extend point of view that there is the age effects according to which older learners outscored younger ones can be explained by teaching and testing techniques. So teaching and testing techniques are the mechanism that can justify or that can contribute in analyzing or identifying the older learners outscoring youngers in terms of their second language acquisition ability. We also see that in addition to age, there are other factors that also contribute or add to the age factor. For example, in this particular research, we see that learning situation in combination with age-related affective and cognitive factors could account for some variation in success between child and adult second learning. So the other are affective, which are related to personal and emotional aspect, cognitive factors. So in addition to age, these factors are also observed as the contributing factors. Then we have adult-child differences in acquisition due entirely to non-biological factor. For example, intensity of exposure, effective emotional procedures or processes, motivation and instruction. So they are non-biological. Although the critical period hypothesis is purely biological concept, we see that age has other related factors which add to the age factors and contribute in influencing the learning process. To conclude, critical period hypothesis theory states that early age is the best age for language acquisition and assumes that children will be superior learners to language acquisition. However, there are specialists and there are researchers that claim they doubt critical period hypothesis and say that older learners show better results than the younger ones. Besides age, we have other age-related factors which are known as the cognitive, educational, social, psychological factors which also influence the learning process or second language acquisition process.